In this talk, we're going to talk about energy field centers and flows and what happens when our energy bodies are whole and healed and what happens when they're traumatized. When we're whole, our fields are integrated, which means that they are truly whole themselves. They are coherent. And our centers, whether we call them chakras or the three centers called the head, heart, and belly, are clear, and we're in the flow, and information flows naturally. When there's a trauma, one or more of three things happens. Our fields get fragmented in some way, shape, or form. Our centers get clouded over, and the flow of energy, or our flows, get blocked. So when our fields are traumatized, we say something like, I'm not all here, or I feel separated from myself, or I feel in some way disconnected, or my thoughts and my feelings aren't connected in some way, or my sexuality and my capacity for love aren't connected, or I'm split between being able to be receptive and assertive. Or we could even say, when we say I'm not all here, it feels like parts of me are missing. So that's what happens when our fields get fragmented in some way, shape, or form. With regard to our centers are about relationship. So when our centers are clear, we have clarified relationships. And our relationship with our communities, with our creativity, with our sexuality, with our willingness to live, with our capacity to love, to listen to the truth and to speak the truth, to have vision, and to really be at one with life. They're all clear. When there's some kind of trauma, these centers get clouded over, and our relationships with life also get unclear. And we don't know what they're about. In terms of flow, what happens when we're in the flow is we are really moving, and there's a sense of being in the flow and an aliveness. But when we're not in the flow because of some kind of trauma, we freeze like a deer in headlights. And even when that situation ends, it's like the flows have been blocked, like they become like ice and the rivers have stopped flowing. So our work really is about bringing our fields back into integrity, to clarify our centers and to start us up in flows. And then we're whole and we're healed. When that doesn't happen, what happens is eventually it will show up in some kind of symptom that will be a clue about the nature of the trauma that has affected our field centers and flows. So really what we have now is a model that starts with the energy field and center and flow itself. We're not so interested in symptom and transforming symptoms. And when we bring our fields into integrity, our centers into clarity, and we come back into the flow, symptoms will naturally just disappear, or our relationship to them will change to such a degree that we won't have any anxiety about them, or we won't have any judgment about them. They'll just be one more thing that we're experiencing.